In the headlines, Adamawa State High Court adjourns arraignment of suspended resident electoral commissioner till July 20. Menial job workers share experiences on biting cost of living in Abuja. President Tinubu seeks lawmakers' approval of 500 billion naira for fuel subsidy palliatives. And on the international scene, South African police launch manhunt after 6 die in mass shooting. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Now the news in detail. Adamawa State High Court sitting in Yola has adjourned arraignment of the suspended resident electoral commissioner Hudu Ari till July 20. Hudu Ari, bailed for arraignment before the State High Court in Yola on Wednesday, was not in court when the matter was called. Salis Lawan reports.
The learned SN, Rotimi Jacobs, appeared for the Federal Republic of Nigeria for mentioning of the case. So in the process, the attention of the learned SN was drawn to the fact that there is a pending court order restraining INEC from prosecuting the defendant, who is Hudu in this case. So with that, the court was of the opinion that since there is a pending court order, we should wait till the 18th of this month to see the outcome before further steps can be taken.
The lawyer said the electoral offences the suspended commissioner is facing charges over are clearly within the jurisdiction of the State High Court. Salis Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
The Independent National Electoral Commission in Zamfara State has embarked on a review of the 2023 general election in order to improve future polls. The state's resident electoral commissioner, Saidu Babara, told journalists that the essence was to get first-hand information from participants on the successes, challenges and losses recorded in the last elections, with a view to prepare to correct them in the 2027 general elections. The report.
In this hall are returning officers, collation and electoral officers, and assistant electoral officers in the 2023 general elections. Also present, management staff of the Independent National Electoral Commissioner, INEC, Zamfara State. They are here to conduct post-review of the 2023 general elections to identify successes, challenges, and losses, and to recommend ways the Commission can improve in the next elections. The Resident Electoral Commissioner, INEC, in Zamfara State, Saidu Babura, disclosed that the Commission selected the actual participants of the 2023 general elections from each of the 3 senatorial districts, as well as federal and state constituencies, to give real-time information on what transpired in the field during the conduct of the election in Zamfara State.
It's a the whole country, averaging all experiences and finding solutions to those areas of great challenges.
The participants were shared into groups to brainstorm and come up with the issues that arose during the last general elections in Zamfara State to help the Commission strengthen its preparation for any future elections.
The fuel subsidy removal and the attendant cost of living crisis has changed the lives of people with gainful employment. Unskilled workers doing menial jobs to survive are worse hit by the current economic realities in the country. In this report, Noel Sampson speaks to menial job workers on how they cope with living in these difficult times.
The cost of essentials like energy and food is rising much faster than average household incomes. these individuals who do menial jobs like hawking wares, cleaning windscreens and traffic find life more difficult since the price of virtually everything has increased.
The work will go there for us. No, they see money like before. No, they see money like before. Like me before, where I hustle like this before, I hustle like 8K, 5K. But now, I hustle like 3K, 3.5.
We thank God, but it is making our daily cost of living very hectic. It depends. Sometimes we get to sell off everything, and sometimes we don't. Actually, the expenses are still the same, but the transportation fee is very high now. I work here at Pana. I sell sand and cement. Everything has changed, not like before. There is high cost of living. Actually, you make more than you make now. However, some Nigerians are concerned over what these individuals are facing and hope something can be done to change the situation.
I wonder, because if you could affect somebody like we, who think we are already trying to make ourselves better people already, well, how much about them? I wonder, and maybe that is why a lot of things are happening in the country right now.
It's really underwhelming, actually. I don't know what to say because the whole thing is really mind-blowing for me. People are not really finding it easy at all. Many students have actually dropped out of school. Some who have actually gotten admission, they couldn't actually afford to go to school because of the high rate of maybe admission, admission fee and the rest of it, school fees and the rest. I think the cost of living right now is really something else.
They urge the federal government to come up with policies that will make life better for the ordinary person on the street. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
President Bola Tinubu has written to the House of Representatives seeking an amendment to the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act to accommodate 500 billion naira for provisions of palliatives for Nigerians. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, read the President's communication at plenary on Wednesday. He said the request became necessary to enable the government provide palliatives for Nigerians to cushion the effects of the removal of fuel subsidy. He urged the legislators to give his request expeditious consideration and approval as well to enable his administration provide palliatives for Nigerians. Speaker Abbas, after reading the request, said the House will begin the consideration of the President's request at plenary on Thursday.
Request for the amendment of the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act. I write to request the approval of the House of Representatives for the amendment of the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act in accordance with the attached. The request has become necessary in order to, among other things, source for funds necessary to provide palliatives to mitigate the effect of the recent removal of fuel subsidy on Nigerians. Thus, the sum of 500 billion naira only has been extracted from the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act of 819,536,937,815 naira only for the provisions of palliatives to Nigerians to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal. While I hope that the House of Representatives will consider this request expeditiously, please accept, Right Honorable Speaker, the assurances of my highest consideration.
The House of Representatives has resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate allegations of fictitious contracts, awards, lopsided placements, mismanagement of funds by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. This followed adoption of a motion moved by Kingsley Chinda, Mansur Manu Soro, and 3 others at plenary on Wednesday. Presenting the motion, The lawmakers alleged that there were awards of questionable and phony contracts, fraudulent forex transactions, lopsided placements of directors, and other unwholesome and corrupt practices in NIMASA. The lawmakers therefore called for a thorough investigation of the allegations, among others. The House adopted the motion and resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the allegations and report back within 3 months for further legislative action. Moving on to security, authorities of the Nigerian Army on Wednesday vowed that there would be no amnesty again for bandits terrorizing the northwest zone of the country, insisting that such move had failed in the past. The Chief of Army Staff, Major General Taoreed Lagbaja, said this at Army Headquarters, Abuja, during a meeting with Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal. He called on state governors to give the military free hands to eliminate all the criminal elements. The army chief warned the criminals to flee the country with immediate effect, saying troops under his command will give them close marking as well as block them from entering other parts of the country. The army chief's position is coming on the heels of the recent call made by the former governor of the state, Sani Erima, that they should dialogue with the bandits. Similarly, Governor of Kaduna State, Obasani, has asked for more military support and intervention in tackling the lingering security challenges in southern Kaduna and other troubled parts of the state. Governor Sani made the appeal when he visited the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Taoreed Lagbaja, at the Army Headquarters in Abuja. He pledged his government support to the Nigerian Army and other security agencies in combating security challenges in Kaduna State. Police authorities in Kwara State said the restriction of movement on operations of commercial motorcycles between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. is still in force to combat the scourge of kidnapping and theft in the state. Commissioner of Police Ebun Oluwarotimi Adelesi stated this while addressing journalists at police headquarters in Ilorin. She wondered why people should blame the police for trying to flush out criminals in the state, adding that the law has been in existence, though not implemented.
It is not the police that made the pronouncement that they should not move from 9 is by the state. So we are only supporting the state to ensure that there is peace. So that should not be your problem, because if they do not have any mode of transportation, there's not going to be anything. And funny enough, most of these cultists, do you even realize that they are artisans? So that is it. It's for the protection of the city, the state, the communities, as well as for themselves, not to risk their life. That is why we have to ensure, and it still stands. And I repeat that anyone found after that time, no compromise is to be taken to court straight.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break, we take a look at how media content can promote healthcare. Stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Trust News Update, a recap of some of our top stories. We told you that Adamawa State High Court adjourns arraignment of suspended resident electoral commissioner till July 20. We also heard that menial job workers share experiences on biting cost of living in Abuja. Moving to more stories, Pakistani female child education activist Malala Yousafzai wants leaders to invest in education to better the lives of children and bring development to the nation. Malala won the 2014 Nobel Peace Prize laureate at the age of 17. She made the call during an official visit to Maiduguri, Borno State capital, along with other United Nations envoy. She observed that there has been improvement in education, but more needs to be done for the safety of children, mostly girls, and also making education accessible. Malala added that education brings development and peace in any nation that makes it a priority.
We are worried about the safety and security of girls' education. We are also concerned about the lack of investment in girls' education as well. But we also know that as challenging as it seems, it is the collective work of people, of the government, of the civil society, of education activists, all leaders to invest in the education of the future generation. We need to ensure that we are investing in innovative ways, in digital ways to make education more accessible.
The Boko Haram insurgents have destroyed about 1,000 classrooms in Borno State. They've destroyed about 832 municipal buildings, comprising of health institutions, comprising of local government secretariats, police stations.
A communications and development expert, Umaru Pate, says media content can affect a change on issues related to maternal health and mindset of policymakers in Nigeria. Pate disclosed to journalists shortly after a presentation on mass media behavior change and development at the first 1,000 days of a child's life held in Gombe State. Trust TV's Adamu Imam completes the report.
The communication expert, who doubled as the Vice Chancellor of Federal University Kashere, maintained that journalists can make a positive impact in addressing health challenges with the aid of content credibility.
So what can we give him in terms? So it's for the media to prepare our minds for all of this, not just to condemn. Go and do your research and understand.
He also expressed concern about the challenges the media faces while trying to help change the narratives that will make policies and programs of government tilt towards addressing issues affecting the society.
What are some of these issues? Because the internet has democratized access, it has enabled new owners of media to emerge, and it has created platforms that has given competition to our legacy media. So there is this issue or the challenge of funding. The monies that they used to realize from advertising, from sponsorship, are no longer flowing into the regular media organizations. They are not going to the platform. The big media, giant techs are taking the monies. And then the smaller bloggers and others are also cornering. So the chunk that is going to the regular media is negligible.
He further said the role of the media extends to behavioral change and people's towards healthy practices, as well as ensure the safety of a child with their mothers from the day of conception to the second birthday of a child. Adami Imam, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Away from Nigeria, a mass shooting in South Africa has left 6 people dead and 4 wounded when 3 men entered the yard of a home and opened fire. The shootings happened on Tuesday night in the township of Kwanobule near the town of Kariega in the Eastern Cape province. The suspects have not been arrested and a search is underway, police said on Wednesday. South Africa has one of the highest homicide rates in the world, and at least 2,629 people were killed with a firearm in the first 3 months of this year, according to official crime statistics. Kidnapping for ransom and the targeted killing of celebrities has also been rising in South Africa. The police said 5 men and a woman were killed in Tuesday's shooting, and a woman was among the wounded. Police said the motive for the shooting is unclear. There has been a series of mass shootings in South Africa recently, including at least 3 this year. Last year, 16 people were killed in the township of Soweto in Johannesburg after numerous gunmen shot at people at the bar. 8 people were fatally shot at a birthday party in the same Eastern Cape province in January. A child was among 10 members of the same family killed at a house in April. In sports, the Nigerian Football Federation has admitted that they are currently cash-strapped and are yet to pay some of the outstanding wages of Super Eagles coach Jose Posero, Super Falcons coach Randy Waldrum, and other national team coaches. This was made known by the Director of Communications, Ademola Olajire. He noted that the football house is currently cash-strapped and cannot pay its workers. The NFF has been facing huge financial challenges, and there is an ongoing effort to resolve all the issues relating to unpaid wage. The new board of the Federation is working hard to resolve the problems, saying it is unfortunately not something to be proud of. Aside the coaches, players of the different national teams are also owed camp allowances and match bonuses. And finally, the remains of Kano's prominent retired civil servant, teacher and banker, Malam Imamu Galadanchi, has been laid to rest. The Murshid of National Mosque and former Nigeria's ambassador to Saudi Arabia, Professor Said Galadanchi, led the funeral prayers at Kano Emir Palace. The late Galadanchi died in London last week. The Sultan of Sokoto, Abubakar Saad Abubakar, as well as emirs of Kano and Bichi, were among mourners that witnessed the prayers. The late Galadanchi was described as a consummate public servant who had impacted on the lives of many in Kano and beyond.
It's very painful to me because he was the one who employed me to teach Hausa in the school. Many of the people you will see here were students under his leadership. He was a very honest person, very patient, very enterprising, and he had good relationship with almost every lecturer. He was our mentor, and it's a great loss not only to Kano but to Nigeria.
My special condolence to his immediate family and to all of us from Kano and to all Nigerians. We really have to mourn this great loss. We will miss him because of the wisdom and the humility that he emits, you know, and we all learn from that. May Almighty grant him Al-Jannah Firdausi.
And with that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.